You know how hard it is to be evil and malicious.
Honestly, I would say no to that, brother, because I'm not trying to be evil and malicious. I'm trying to do the right thing, man.
Yeah,
But I feel you on that.
Yeah, it's an easy job for some. It's difficult for others. I'm here with my brother. My brother. That is impactful. How you doing, sir? So I'm gonna start it like this. I am a guy from the police. City Bipper, Quis The Vndl. Marquis is the name my mama gave me. I'm here with a brother who has accomplished some things that I am very proud of. We have shared a lot of wins in this season, and we will continue to share wins. We're headed to a point in our life where you got to man up. You got to be accountable. You are going to be the deciding factor in the next however many years of your life. And it's such a beautiful turning point, and it's such a beautiful place to stand with a brother like you. So thank you, Elijah.
Thank you, brother, for having me on the podcast. Definitely. It's been a long time coming. I'm just glad to have the opportunity to be on here. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I brought him into space for many reasons. A lot of the hurdles that I've faced as of late, you've had like some wisdom to give me in those moments. Invitations to events that I'm glad I followed up on, from a basketball game.
Yeah.
With your homies. And I hated hooping. I started getting resentful about hooping because of all of my whatever that I went through. And I let that go. And I was like, let me pull up and see what the guys on. And I hooped too hard, but it was fun.
Yeah, man, get yourself out there, man. It's like Nike, just do it. Just get out there. Put yourself out there. That's what it's about. Just putting yourself out there. You never know what opportunities you're gonna miss if you don't put yourself out there. So I feel like I'm learning that too myself. So definitely, man, put yourself out there, man. I feel it.
And the just do it, man. This is a just do it.
Exactly.
I saw some on my timeline. I said, my brother's out here at a spot that I like to eat at when I get a chance to. Let me take that drive. And here I am after the drive.
Yep.
Very much alive. Feeling grateful inside.
There you go.
Because I had some good food. This is E-Life.
Yes.
Capitol Heights.
Absolutely.
It's still in the DMV area, but it's an hour drive depending on what part of the city you're from. If you're from the city that we're from, right?
Absolutely.
And giving that to yourself.
Yeah.
Giving yourself a new opportunity, a new experience, and also sharing it with people that you're grateful for.
Absolutely. Same here. It's just great to have, like I said, great to have this opportunity. And yeah, I mean, just to put on events like this to get you, like we talked about, putting yourself out there. We have all the other vendors inside putting themselves out there, trying to get their business off the ground. And you see it. You see the results. We're networking. We're supporting each other. You have the customers coming in, buying the products, and you got people buying the food, eating good. So like I said, that's what's the main about. It's like that opportunity to put yourself out there. And when you do that, you're going to think back and say, I'm so glad I did that. Because the worst thing you can do in life is live with regret. So it's all about, especially now, because like we're young too. Like, we're getting a little bit older. We're almost at 30. I mean, 30 is tapped on our shoulders, but we still got some time to put ourselves out there and, build on the future. So that's what it's all about.
And it's such a beautiful present moment. And I don't want that to go over my head when I watch this back.
Exactly.
It's such a beautiful present moment because it is the intersection of so many other moments, right?
Right.
There's these things that go on in the journey that I won't say I've been very reflective in my verbiage, in my nouns, and the choice of words.
Exactly.
I, at times, had expected there to be less trials, expected there to be less obstacles, expected for certain people not to be the obstacle.
Exactly.
And at times it was the ones that weren't supposed to be, and the ones bringing me freedom were the ones I was afraid of.
That's facts.
So that's not even a racial thing. Like that don't got nothing to do with white people. That has all to do with people that I grew up with not seeing for who they were entirely, right? They say keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. A lot of times the friends are playing two roles.
That's true.
So these people were labeling. Yeah, that's a we. I labeled at times have played a role that was not in tandem with the vision I saw for myself, but more in line with the vision they assumed I must be.
Exactly right. It's like those saying, don't judge a book by its cover.
Don't judge a book by its cover. And with that being said, we got a book.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect timing, right? Yeah. So yeah, this is my book right here. It's Your Jewels in Your Journey: Life Lessons to Lead You to Your Optimal Self. My very first book came out in May, and I'm excited about it. So it's like what we talked about earlier, just trying to overcome the life challenges that we have, being the best versions we can be, and once you finish reading the book, my goal is that you have the clarity and the wisdom of how to move forward and become better, because that's what life is all about, just being better, being the best you. And like I tell everybody who I sell my book to, life, when it comes to life, life is a journey. We all got a journey to travel on. We all got a story to tell. So that's my mentality behind it.
Yes, I sat with like the desire for an end. Like the end means everything stops.
Right.
It's like the suffering has to end. Oh, is it really suffering, or is it a perspective that's been chosen?
I feel it.
So when I read what your book entails, especially in the earlier chapters, sitting with those life altering moments.
Yes.
Those just ultimate realizations. It's like, oh, if I took one more step that way, this would have been totally different. Right. And to be on the other side of those moments. Right. How have you do you unpack it? What's your response to it?
I mean, I think I would say, like, when I was writing my book, when you talk about those life experiences and all the suffering, it's funny because I just did a written interview for somebody, and like one of the questions was, what was the toughest challenge about writing the book? And I said, I really didn't have any challenge writing it as far as like writer's block, because like my publisher did a great job. He laid out the outline, how to do it. Shout out to my publisher, Matthew C. Horn. Matthew, if you watch this, shout out to you, bro. But yeah, the main challenges for me, I think, were just trying to go back to those challenges that I had to overcome. There's a lot of topics that I talk about, like a lot of stuff happened when I was in high school. I talk about, heartbreak, from someone you really like, and you kind of get to a point where you say, okay, I'm over that. That doesn't bother me. I'm good. But as you start to reflect, it's like, wait a minute, maybe I'm not over it as I thought I was. And when I started writing about those experiences, I had to put myself in that pain again. Cause it's like the best art, I think you would agree, and a lot of people agree with this when they watch this, is like the best art kind of comes from pain, whether it's music, a movie, whatever, when you tap into that pain, it's like the best art can come from that. And I think for me, it's like, when does the suffering end? But also at the same time, like, how did you learn from that suffering? And how did you become different? So that's how I would kind of answer that question. It's just like, I really thought I had healed from a lot of that stuff that happened, because one of the things I like about my book is, like, I talk about a lot of stuff that I just haven't really shared with a whole lot of people. I tell people I'm introverted, and I kind of keep to myself a bit. So I don't always just say, whatever's on my mind to everybody. But what made this great was it was like a very therapeutic process. And like I said, it made me realize that, hey, the suffering has ended, but it's also made me better in a way too.
Yes. There's a lot of growth. And to see the man that you stand to be in this moment and read some of those stories, right? Like I sit with what you dealt with at Poly.
Yeah.
And just that moment you speak about where your dad's like, well, what you gonna do?
Exactly.
You gonna work at Walmart? Like, then you're like, yeah, I'm working at Walmart.
Well, the thing with that was, like, the whole thing with my dad and Walmart, as he puts it, and he's gonna laugh when he sees the interview. He said it was my version of giving the Theo speech from the Cosby Show. Yeah. And I don't think because I had seen the Cosby Show, but I don't think I ever saw the pilot episode. So, like, whenever I see that episode now, I always think about high school. But I think I said that because, for one, I was in a very unmotivated place. Just struggling in high school. I mean, I got put on academic probation at Poly, and people know sophomore year at Poly is hard as hell. Like, you got the 2 math classes. Anybody who's graduated from Poly, you know this. Like,
shout out to
any Poly alum. You know, if you get through the sophomore year at Poly, you're gonna be straight for life, because that year can be pure hell. It was pure hell for me. But like, I just told him that because I think I was just trying to answer his question. So he was like, "Yeah, Elijah, what you gonna do if you don't go to college?" I was like, "Well, Dad, I'm just gonna work at Walmart.
I'm gonna make something happen."
Yeah, exactly. I'll make something happen. Like, and the thing was, as you read in the book, he was like, "Well, how much money do you think you're gonna make?" I said, "Well, $10,000 a year." He said, "Yeah, 1970." So I'm just because like, hey, I'm thinking to myself, well, you asked me a question, like, well, I gotta answer it. Like, I mean, I gotta do something. So, but honestly, I look back and I'm like, you know what, that really wasn't me. And you know, like I said, it's been a journey, but yeah, it definitely is something that I think deep down he wanted to show me that I see more in you than you see in yourself at the moment. And I think for him, he definitely saw bigger than me just working at Walmart. So I have to appreciate my dad for that.
One thing that's powerful, the relationship that you have with your father is impactful. That I have a relationship with my dad was like, okay, yeah, I should have thought about that a little harder. Yeah, and it's a different type of grace. It's not the same grace mom gives. Mom gives grace, nothing.
They do,
but like dad's grace is like, yeah, and I'll show you how to fix it.
Yeah, well,
like a little simpler.
It's like I think for fathers, it's like it's more of a tough love at times. Like the way I would describe like my upbringing with my dad was great. Always was a great supporter for me. But I admire the fact that he knew to be hard on me when I needed to be, when he needed to be. And at that moment in my life, he needed to really put fuel to the fire when it came to like my future. So it wasn't it wasn't the time to say, oh, it's okay, you're doing all right, you're doing the best you can do. It's like, no, you really need to get your ish together, like in layman's terms.
And I got some ways you can do it. You may not like my ways, but these are some different alternatives.
And it's facts. I did not like the ways because I think I'm at a point now where I can adapt to change better. But as a teenager, I was not feeling that. All the stuff he made me do, and my mom to some degree too, they made me do. I'm just like, man, I don't want to do this. Like it's like I'm good right where I am. Like, can't you just leave me alone? Like, listen, this is the best I can do right now. Like, you know, but it's like, again, they see more when you have good parents like that. And especially when you're a young man, you have a father in your life. When your father can see more in you than you can see in yourself as a young man.
Yes.
That means a lot to me. So,
yes,
and that's why I always say, and I say this proudly in my book, he's my role model because he showed me that I'm capable of doing more than where I am right now. So I'm just glad that he put that pressure on me, you know, to do better, you know, for sure.
So it's so interesting, right? Because there is a lot of enabling and pacification.
Yeah.
I've sat with that a lot lately. Grace is, I'm going to allow you to not be where I see you
exactly
being in this moment. I'm going to allow you to eat an extra 7 cookies.
Yeah.
Because of the circumstances of this moment. That's the grace. The accountability is the moment's gone.
Yeah.
The moment is done. If I continue to let you do this, now I'm enabling behavior that does not move you beyond the moment.
Exactly.
I'm pacifying.
Yes.
Rather than I'm coddling. And sometimes people get, oh, that's a trigger word. Coddling, passive. Like, no, the reality is there comes a day where the pain isn't even real.
Exactly.
Like, it's like you walk the baby into the water.
Yeah.
It's so deep. Right, you just wilding.
Right.
The water wasn't that deep. You ain't even in the water yet.
Right.
It's barely touching your toe.
Exactly. Right. It's like, calm down. It's like you ain't drowning.
and again, it's like a lot of times experiences where somebody did impact you traumatically.
Oh yeah.
Like it was a real intentional trauma that was caused. And it will mirror the help that you're seeking.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Like some people are afraid to go to the hospital because there have been traumatic experiences they've had in the hospital.
Yes.
With the family member, watching a nurse be careless, watching a doctor just be there for the check.
Right.
That does not mean that will be your experience in that moment.
That's true.
And go in with faith that you will get beyond the limitations another fell to.
Right.
But yes, I sit with that passage. I think about your experience at Tuskegee.
Yeah.
With the heartbreak and that friendship. And I think about it because I've had it and I laugh because even as you spoke about Parley,
Yeah.
Me and Elijah are going through this school together. I think we had similar classes. Like we might have had, we actually had sat through the same classes.
I think that like the first class thing I remember having you with, bro, was like maybe we were with drama class with Mr. Blight. I want to say we had that. That was one of my. I'm sure we had more, but like that was the one. The one I definitely remember for sure.
But like to share teachers. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
We know Gibby. Shout out to Mr. Gibson. Shout out to
that's true.
Shout out to Miss Sackbar. Shout out to Mr. Riley. Shout out to Mr. Greg. Shout out to a lot of the poly teachers that made our class what it is.
Absolutely.
And just sitting with the ways that I resented them at times. The bitter feelings that came for the work they were given.
Yes.
And to be on the other side of that work.
Yes.
And to be in real life where if you're late to this meeting today,
exactly.
they're not waiting for you.
No.
And it may actually be to your detriment.
Right.
And there won't be future meetings with that, you know, sitting into these different parts. But I'm thinking about that specifically. Like, what was your reaction to that friendship? Like, how has that been?
That was tough because it was like the first time I really had a falling out with anybody. And like I just didn't see that coming. I mean, the way I saw it at the time was I did the best that I thought I could do. I mean, I'm not perfect. I know that because I'm human, but I just didn't like the way it went down. Like I thought it was just disrespectful. I'm just like, well, why would you do that? Like, I mean, because I wasn't expecting it. Like I just didn't expect my friendship with her to end like that.
Yes.
Now it's kind of weird. I will confess. She actually reached out to me a couple weeks ago. I have not spoken to her in 3 years. I mean, but it's cool. I didn't have any bad or ill will towards her.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it is I was angry and hurt that the friendship ended. But the way I kind of healed from it is that I just got to the acceptance of if I don't ever hear from her again, it's okay. Like I'm going to meet people in my future and things will be okay. Like there's more to life than just one person. So, and what it taught me was, like I talked about in my book, is like not everyone stays in your life forever. Some people come in for a moment. Some people come for a reason. Some last a lifetime. And in this case, sometimes they may come back. But but the big thing that I take from it is if you're holding on to anger and bitterness of people who did you wrong, especially in the past, you're not going to allow yourself to move forward in the future to meet the people who are going to do right by you, who want to do the best by you and for you. Like you just talked about earlier, like that trauma. Like if I hold on to that trauma of losing a friendship and my bad.
This is a trope on the shoulder.
Yeah. But if I hold on, my fault. But if I hold on to that trauma and that pain of losing a friendship, then I don't allow myself to meet new people and have new experiences with people in my future.
Yes.
So that's how I look at it. Like, so yeah, it hurt because all I did was want to ask her to come to my completion ceremony for grad school. But, you know, hey, things happen. You just learn from it. And, you know, that's my message to anybody. It's like, if you have someone who doesn't appreciate, you know, the relationship that you had, whether it's a romantic relationship, friendship, whatever, that doesn't make you a bad person. You know, you still were a good person. You obviously showed that you cared about the relationship, whatever type of relationship it was, but just hold your head up high and know that just apply what you had in this situation to the next person. And hopefully you'll find that person who's going to admire and appreciate the relationship that you have. So that's why I look from it. Like, you know, just being better and learn from that experience. And just like you said, like that trauma, don't let it hurt you or stop from moving forward.
And I always sit with like, where are people giving me their love from? Where they giving me this kindness from?
Exactly.
Right? How you doing? Sometimes people don't have a genuine kindness. I spoke on that recently. Like, your concept of love oftentimes starts in the way you were brought up.
True.
Some of us are brought up in spaces where love is very transactional. Yeah. Love is very fake.
That is true.
Love is, if I don't get what I asked for, you don't get any of my love. You don't get any intimacy. You don't get any of these deeper aspects of us that really don't need to be hidden that much. But it's often a mechanism that starts from having to protect yourself from so many people.
Exactly.
Because there are people with nefarious intention.
That is true.
There's people that come in and they take more than they give.
Mm-hmm.
They're smiling and stabbing you, right?
That is true.
When that's a lot of people's reality, they're not used to receiving love. And I've been one of them at times. I haven't been used to receiving love. So I had to check myself as I've been doing this podcast.
Yeah.
As I've been teaching. Like, I remember days where my students will come up to me like, oh, you my favorite person in the world. I'm like, I'm not the best person.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can be the best person in this moment. I am my best self.
Yeah.
That's what brought me to even teach you. Why would I deny that? Why am I denying self?
Exactly.
Right. Those were questions I had to sit with.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I'm kind of the same way. It's like I'm going through that same process of like just trying to find self-love. And like, even from that experience we just talked about with the friendship, like learning to love myself. And, you know, even in that period where, you know, like I would have wanted to reach out to her, I had to realize self is like, I got to put myself first in the situation, because clearly at that time we weren't on the best of terms. But what I'm still even trying to take from that experience and even moving forward, even right now still, is just learning to love myself and gain that self-love to where I'm not extending myself to, like you said, trying to reach out to people who I think are showing me love, but in reality, they might be stabbing you in the back. And like you said, it's not like we're trying to be paranoid and say, oh, is this person going to do right by me, whatever. But I think when you have that good foundation that you love yourself, it's harder for people, I think, to do wrong by you, because they realize that that's a strength, that you obviously know how to love and put yourself first when you need to be. You know, it doesn't mean you should be selfish, but it shows that you have a decent level of respect about you. And that usually does attract other people towards you, the right people especially.
And it's such an intentional action. It's a practice. Right. It's one that is difficult at times. But what I sat in when I describe love, right? This expectation that I was moving about space with, in the love that I wanted to receive, right?
Right.
Was I giving that to self?
That's true.
When I'm like, oh, unconditional love, I'm like, do I love myself unconditionally?
Yeah, that's the biggest one.
Why are there conditions to the love I give myself?
Exactly.
Am I undeserving of love because my breath stank? No. Right. Let's go brush the teeth.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, am I undeserving of love because I didn't get the grade that I expected to get in high school? I love myself. I love myself despite these shortcomings or these momentary realities.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's facts, hands down, you know. And plus, and like I said earlier, people realize that, like, people can see somebody who clearly does not love and appreciate themselves, and they wonder, it's like, especially when you try to reach out and have other people give that love to you, they think about, well, how can I give you love when you can't love your own self? And it's like, if you're not at peace with yourself, how can you be at peace with somebody else? And you know, that's something I think everyone's trying to find, and hopefully you will find it. But definitely, that self-love is hella important. And once you get that, you know you got something great.
Shout out to Uncle Rom.
Yes,
Brother Rom Wills. Because he put up a lot of videos that both of us have benefited from.
Absolutely.
And also speaking on that within.
Yes.
How do you feel within, right? To get to that, you got to recognize, like, nothing external has that much of an impact on the within. Right. It's these things. These are the additional parts, right? Exactly. Within, I'm solid. Within, exactly. I got like 60 poems within. Like, I didn't commit them to memory. Like, okay, within, I got a new poem to write.
There you go.
Right. So it's like, from that to seeing this materialize, right? Yeah. We talk so much about this concept. What was it like? Was it last year that we spoke about it? Or was it the beginning of the year?
I think it's funny. We kind of first started talking, like, it was you.
Okay.
Because I remember when we did basketball, and you were telling me what you wanted to do with entrepreneurship and what was your plans. And I really saw that you were laying the groundwork, and I was like, wow, this is really great. Now, the catch of it was, this is where it gets funny. At the time, I was doing MLM stuff, and I don't do that anymore. And it's not a knock against MLMs. You know, hey, if you do what you want to do, you know, if it's, as long as it's legal, it makes you money, it makes you happy, go for it. I'm not going to stand in anybody's way of doing it. And I was trying to see if you'd be interested in doing that. But when you told, but actually, when I first heard you say, "Hey, this is what I want to do with like my website, with my brand," like you said, you got your book out now. It made me realize, okay, you know what? Why would it be fair for me to step in and try to persuade him to do this when I see that he has a vision for himself, that he's not going to be interested in doing this? So really, it was that conversation that I think made me notice what you were doing, because like you pretty much knew, hey, I want to do this, that, and the third. I want to have my website, which you've gotten. I want to have my clothing brand. You got that. I got my poetry that I want to do. You were doing teaching at the time. You knew what you wanted to do. And, that's where I think it started. And like, ever since then, we've been talking more. Of course, I've been worked on my book, and, appreciate it. And it's just like, we both have figured out what we both wanted to do. And I think that's part of the journey. So really that's where I think it really started, because prior to that, you and I hadn't spoken in a while prior to us playing basketball. So that basketball game was definitely something special. But yeah, you were the one who really laid the groundwork to where I think we are right now. So
Brother,
for sure.
It's hilarious to sit into the reality of the moment.
Exactly.
Thinking about everything that brings you to the moment and not looking back bitter. Because I've had that MLM conversation with plenty of folk.
Yes.
Because what I do is in line with that theory, where it's like, I'm reading Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yep.
I'm reading Think and Grow Rich.
Yep.
I love these books.
Right. The magic of thinking big and all that.
I network.
Exactly.
To
yes.
a point where they're like, what are you selling me? And like, no, I'm not selling nothing. I want to know about you. I'm curious.
Exactly.
So to be in spaces and at times be assumed to be something that I'm not, and doubt it for the thing I actually am.
Right.
Has always been hilarious. So I'm grateful, like you said, I'm grateful to be able to sit with you after having done the things we talked about.
Absolutely.
And to continue to do things that I'm talking into, like my reality, and watch others, right?
Yeah.
So I was talking to you about that. I was talking to you about this. And that same vision is coming true with Michelle.
Absolutely. Shout out to Michelle. She's doing her thing with her book. So, hey, but then she's another example. She's a perfect example of someone who knows what she wanted to do, and look what she's doing. She's got her world tour and everything, pretty much. Like but again, she followed her vision. That's what it's all about. Like I thought, and I actually mentioned it in one of my book. There's like one of like my favorite quotes that I quoted in my book was from Left Eye. She talked about like, just like, if you can see it in your head, and like the power of manifestation. Like, I can't remember the exact quote off my head, but basically it's like, she was just saying like, yeah, it's all about seeing it and believing it, like that manifestation she was talking about. And I agree. And I believe in manifestation wholeheartedly, because it just starts, she said like this, it starts with a thought, pretty much. Like, you have the thoughts of what you want to do, how you want to do it. Only thing after that is you just got to put it into action. And once you put it into action, you just manifest your reality. Like, and that's the thing about, like, imagine if like how powerful we all would be if like we all realize we can manifest our reality to some degree.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I'm not trying to take credit from, the Most High or say that life doesn't get in the way, but you have the ability to do that, to bring what you want to fruition.
But that's what's so beautiful. The Most High is in concert with you.
Exactly.
When you're in concert with him, them, whatever. And I say whatever because I know people who have their versions, their understandings.
Exactly.
Right? But my understanding says that if I'm serving community, if I'm taking care of my temple,
exactly.
if I'm conscious of the actions I'm doing, if I become aware and I make a conscious effort to shift the way I react, eventually it will change over time.
Absolutely.
I couldn't do one push-up at one point.
Right. I'm with you on that. I couldn't do one either.
I'm at 10 muscle-ups.
Yeah.
To go from barely doing a set of 10 push-ups to doing 200 push-ups in a day, to going to dip bars, to touching the weights and going from 130 on a bench to 225.
Right.
Like, these moments, I'm like, oh, I've done that. I'm grateful that I did. What's next? What's next? We made these books.
Yeah.
What's next?
There you go.
What's the speaking tour? Right? What's the speaking tour? What's the live podcast? Like, what's next? Because
absolutely.
when you're giving breath, you better use it.
Absolutely. but I feel in that, but it's because it's just like when you achieve one thing, it makes you say like, wow, I can do that. if I can do this, then what else can I do? So, you know, it just opens up your eyes to more possibility. Because, like, for example, I had no plans to write a book. I never had any thought, any idea.
I remember you talking about it. That's why I'm laughing. I'm thinking about you posting it. You were like,
I had no idea.
Look, I'm writing a book. I don't know if I'm going to do it all the way.
No, I was going to do it, but it's just like, because it's funny, the story, how it went down, because it kind of goes back to what we just talked about. Like, when you can see it, you can do one thing, you can do a lot of other stuff. So, like, the way it went down was last September, I was at a Level Up Black Empowerment Expo in Waldorf, Maryland. And they had Dr. Umar be the guest speaker. So I went out because I've heard Dr. Umar a lot of times. I'm a fan. I like a lot what he has to say. And before they're about to bring him up, you know, I'm out with the vendors and I come across two of my publisher Matthew's books. So the sister at the table is like, yeah, come back after Dr. Umar speaks and he'll sign your book. I said, okay, cool. And honestly, I was this close to walking out and just saying, nah, I don't know if I want to get my book signed. But I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and talk to the man, get him to sign the book. And then the funny part, so he signed the book. It's like, okay, all right, nice to meet you, buddy. He goes, so brother, you ever think about writing the book? Like, you got something in your mind. I was just like, not really, no. Like, I'm like, I'm sorry, brother. I just came for the book signature. That's all. Like, I didn't come for all that, man. Like, but I think again, it taught, like what we talked about, like you, when people can see something in you more than you can see in yourself, it means a lot. And that's why I have nothing but great admiration and respect for Matthew. Matthew has done a great job, you know, helped me publish the book and, you know, getting my website together. But I applaud him for seeing something bigger in me than I could see in myself, to be willing to take that risk of writing a book. And like we talked about earlier, like, it's like now that I've done this, like, wow, I can really do some more stuff that if I put my mind to it. And I think you're the same way. Like, you know, I'm sure there were times where you probably thought, okay, I don't know if I can do the whole entrepreneur thing or with the clothing or trying to write poetry, but you did it. And it's like, you've gone from, like, I remember like at Powell, like you were like part of the Floetic Lyricists, you were just doing poetry. Now you've gone from poetry, you've gone to teaching, you've gone to yoga instructor, you've gone to, you know, entrepreneur on your website. It's like, you just see more of the possibilities. And I kind of had this talk with Matthew last night. It's just about accepting the fact to take some risk. Because like one of the things like I'm kind of looking into is, why have I been afraid to take risk at times in certain areas? It's just like at times feel like I wanted to play it safe. But even with this right here, it's like, I'm so glad I didn't. Like, I took a risk on myself. I believed in myself, and now you have the finished product, and you're the same way. So it's just like, when you have someone who can say, hey, I think you should try this, and you can do it. Hey, listen to them, and you never know, it might change your life.
It's such a blessing to sit into the reality of how the darkest day has light.
It's true.
And if it's a light on the darkest day, it'll be full blast again on one of these days.
Absolutely.
So that middle way, man. Yeah. That middle way, that understanding that I saw myself as nothing before I was walking around saying a guy from a place, right? I say it confidently, appreciative for like all that I've been through to say it, but like I was depressed, like very depressed in high school. Yeah. I talked about the side, right? The word, you know, these people, you know, added it, but I talked about death to self. I talked about not feeling valuable, feeling like my voice didn't matter. Yeah. Before I was on stage at Poly doing those poems, I was tucked away with a little composition book. Right. Like my guys, shout out to my guys, all my guys, the guys know. You see me with the composition book in class, I might break it out in the middle of math class, start doodling or writing my couple rhymes, and just to be beyond these moments, God, the source, the universe has gotten us through our darkest moments. Absolutely. And will continue to.
Yeah, it's like the old saying, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Because I've been there, bro. Trust me. Like high school, I was depressed too. Like I didn't know what the future was gonna bring. And it's just like, you look at where we are now and it's just like, wow, we made it through that.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Just it's like, I can say thank you now.
Hey, what you pray for? Thank you, God.
Yeah, exactly. That's the two best words right there. Thank you. Like, no, I'm sorry, three words. Thank you, God.
Yeah,
It's just like,
thank you.
It's like, thank you for delivering me from that mess about 10 years ago.
Appreciate you. For my southern, appreciate you.
Yeah, it's like I was lost, but now I am found. It's like God is such a wonderful God. It's just like,
and it's not over.
Right.
And this is what's so beautiful. Life is a journey.
It is.
And falling in love with the journey, falling in love with getting dirt on your shoes, falling in love with being able to rest when you're given opportunities to. These are the understandings that I've learned as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
It's moments where it's like, oh, that for real?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna go sit down for a second because that's a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be cool with that. Like, I talk about loss. I talk about the different things my family has gone through as I'm doing this journey.
Yeah.
People not getting what they want and me wanting to supply it for them, me wanting to do more for others than I'm asked to because I feel I have the potential to be able to do it.
Right.
I'm telling people no GoFundMe's. Let's find another way. And it's not to disrespect anybody who has it, but just to recognize, like, if we got the energy, we need to be putting it to use and just continuing to build community, man.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. You know.
And I'm grateful. This book, I want more people to understand that they can do it. And one of the easiest ways to get to do something is to genuinely support people doing it.
I agree. Yeah.
I did not really see myself as a musical artist until I started going to shows.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm at like major shows. I'm going to full on productions put on by major record labels. I'm going to underground joints. I'm seeing every spectrum of what it looks like to be a musical artist.
Yeah.
Because I don't know which part of it I'll be playing, right?
Absolutely.
And I love that that's how you get the inspiration. You're at a speaking engagement of someone that you've been fond of, you've been grateful for,
right?
But however many years, right?
Right, exactly.
You get the signature and they give you that, that's you.
Yeah.
Dr. Umar's like, that's you.
Well, it wasn't Dr. Umar. It was Matthew. Matthew's my publisher. Because like I said, I had followed Dr. Umar for years. But I had never met Matthew at this point. Like I said, all I wanted to do was get him to sign my 2 books, and I was going to just say, all right, nice meeting you, brother.
That's hilarious.
Catch you later. But in the way it works, that was just a weird thing about it. But it's like you said. Because think about it, he's an author too. He's written 7 books, and it's just like when you put yourself in a position of somebody, like you said, with you in music, like different artists and everything like that, it's like, okay, maybe I can do this too. Especially if, now for me, I didn't have a passion for writing, but I know for you, you wanted to do music. So for you, it's probably more easier because, you know, you wanted to do music. You may not know how to, as far as the journey was going to take you or how you were going to do it. But once you put yourself in the room with those artists, you realize, okay, I see the potential here. It's like I said, if they can do it, I can do it too. And now look where you are today. Now you got your music, you know, your poetry and all that. So it just goes back to what we talked about at the beginning, like just putting yourself out there. And then you just don't know what's going to happen until you come out of your shell. And people can sense your energy. I think they like I said, certain people can see you have potential, and all you can do is be appreciative when they take you under their wing. So that's how I look at it.
Indeed.
You know, life is about relationships. So that's what it's all about. You know, we don't get to where we are by ourselves. Like those saying, there's no I in team.
There isn't.
Like no athlete has achieved the greatest heights in a team-oriented sport by himself. Like, you know, people always say how Michael Jordan won 6 rings, like, which he did, but he still had Scottie Pippen. He still had Dennis Rodman. Like, I mean, he had Phil Jackson as his coach. Like, as great as a player as Michael Jordan is, he didn't win them 6 rings by himself.
He had a city he put on his back. True. People forget that he came to the Bulls saying, I want to bring some championships to this city.
Right. That was his vision.
That was his vision.
There you go. And he achieved it. So now he's arguably the greatest player of all time. In fact, you ask anybody who's the GOAT, they all tell him it's Michael Jordan. So
hands down.
There you go.
And it's like, I'm grateful to be able to see the love in the city right now. There's
Absolutely.
a lot going on in this city that I used to be afraid of. I used to have I've had so many moments and it's just great to see people on the other side of their pain,
Mm-hmm.
people empowering themselves and others because you decided to do this. And you saying you didn't want to do it.
No.
Like, I really want that to be like, you didn't, and not that you didn't want to do it entirely because you've done it.
I have,
But
yeah.
just like you didn't have that raw thing that some people think like, oh, you got to have this a supreme passion. Like,
Yes.
you got to be talking about writing everywhere you go. Because plenty of people who are talking about the thing they love so much that aren't doing the thing.
Yeah,
I know a lot
exactly.
of people that don't have a book but will break your ear
Yeah.
with their conversation about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think for me is like, because like when I got Matthew's information, I just kept thinking about, okay, there are some stuff that I do want to talk about and I want to share with people. And it's like, I feel like I've learned a lot in life, even though I'm only 26, but I feel like I've gotten at least a good chunk of it so far. So it's like, you know what? Why not take advantage of this opportunity? You know? And it's like, is that like I would be at work and I'm just thinking about, okay, I remember this life lesson. I remember this life lesson. I had that experience happen with it. You know what? Maybe this is a sign. Maybe I need to go ahead and do this. So, you know, like I said, we met that Friday at the MGM in Oxon Hill. We signed the contract, and as I say, the rest is history. But yeah, I mean, whether you want to do something or not, you just have to have the belief that you can do it. And if somebody is seeing something that you can achieve, something that you may not want to do, but they see the bigger picture in the end, that might be a sign right there. Now, it's ultimately up to you because it's your life, but, you know, definitely if you decide to go through with it, when it's all said and done, trust you, you're going to think back and say, wow, I'm so glad I met this person.
Yes, indeed.
And who gave me that inspiration to do this, because look where I am right now. And those are the kind of people you want in your circle. That's why I say, you know, people who might do wrong by you in the past, hey, as painful as that was, eventually, hey, let that go and just start going to the beginning. The funny, it's like, because I read one of Matthew's books and he talked about the last chapter of his book. It's funny. I mean, come on, I'm a guy, so I thought it was kind of funny. I bought the book. One of his books was called like How to Get Beautiful Women and Everything Else You Want in Life. But the last chapter of the book was Egypt or Genesis. And like Egypt represents like that past, like everything that happened to you in the past, like whether it was dating, friendship, whatever. The Genesis is the new beginning. And it's up to you, like, what do you want more? Do you want to stay in Egypt? Or do you want to be like in the Bible, take to the promised land and have your new beginning? Choice is up to you, but trust me, if a person's telling you, hey, I see a Genesis for you and you need to let Egypt alone, that might be a sign you got to let Egypt alone. So
Indeed.
There you go.
Indeed. I think about what were some of your favorite moments to reflect on as you wrote?
I think for me, definitely some moments at Poly, even though they weren't the most pleasant. I think it was still great to kind of go back and just see how far I came from that. There were moments, I don't know how far you got in the book. I do talk about my religious upbringing that I haven't really shared that with a whole lot of people. And it kind of was part of, actually, I don't say part of it. It was a big part of the reason why I was going through a lot of Poly. So when people read that, you know, even though those were not favorable moments, I think what made them stand out to me was because it showed me, okay, I've come so far from those moments. But at the same time, it was like therapeutic for me. Like it was like I could finally let that pain go away from being inside of me and like put it on the paper and things of that nature. But it's not all bad. I mean, I talk about moments, you know, I had like with my friends, like I had one of my friends from elementary school. I talked about how we went to Orlando together, things of that nature. Some great moments had with my friends at Tuskegee. So there were some definitely memorable moments like I had with my dad. I talk about in the book. So, you know, it's not all bad. But definitely those are some moments that stand out to me because it just shows you like, you know, we all come from somewhere. Like you said, you know, we all have that journey we're all going on. And it's like you really don't think about how far you've come until you actually just sit down in the moment and start reflecting on it. So I would say those are some like my favorite moments for sure. Like just even though they were painful, at least I can say, you know what? I grew from it. I got better. And like we talked earlier, just thank God that he delivered me from that pain and that, heartache, because I'm just so much thankful. I'm so thankful that I'm where I am right now. So that's kind of what stood out to me as I was writing the book.
It gets heavy. It can get really heavy. And the journal, the power of journaling. I speak on that a lot. Journaling not only to release the emotions, but to document.
Yes.
So you can go back through your past a little clearer.
Absolutely.
I like to use like real time imagery. Like I think of somebody walking me back to my past with the gaslight.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's not in here. I was like, hey, put it in that corner, brother.
Right.
Yeah, that corner. There's no corner right there. Yes, there is.
Right.
Let's put some light on that.
Right. It's like the ghost of life's past is guiding me back. It's like you got the ghost of life's past, the ghost of life's present, and the ghost of life's future.
And it's interesting because I spoke to someone today about how we can avoid our past.
Yeah.
And not recognize that our view of our past is what's impacting our present.
It's true.
So I view my past as if so many people were villains.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this person didn't want, like, they didn't actually have a problem with it. My youthful, I know it all ego was like, oh, that teacher was a problem. And my 22-year-old self, 24-year-old self who's teaching kids is like, I was the problem.
Exactly.
I had some knuckles on my head.
It's like, because the thing about your past is like, if you don't know where you've been, how are you gonna know where you're going? And it's funny because one of the things I'm sure you probably saw, because I don't know how far you've gotten, but like one of the things I put in my book was because this is from my childhood. The Lion King was my favorite childhood movie. It still is my favorite movie to this day. Hey, it's one of my favorite. That's my favorite. It's definitely one of my favorite childhood movies. I'll say it like that. But one of the things I put in the book was that scene where just before Simba goes back to Pride Rock, Rafiki comes up to him and he's like, after he just spoke with his father in the clouds, he's like, man, what was that? He's like, the weather, very peculiar, don't you think? He's like, and Simba goes, yeah, it looks like the winds are changing. Rafiki goes, change is good. He's like, Simba goes, yeah, but it's not easy. He's like, I know what I have to do, but going back means I got to face my past. Like I've been running from it from so long. And then that's the part where Rafiki hits him in the head with a stick. Like she's like, he's like, what was that for? He's like, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. He's like, yeah, but it still hurts. He's like, oh yes. He's like, Rafiki goes, oh yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. So that's what it's about. Like you said, like, it's like when you think back on your past, it's like everything in life happens for a reason and it leads you to where you are today. And that's the beauty about your past so much. It's like, because I'm kind of like you. It's like, there are times like I feel like, man, I want to run from that. I don't want to deal with that. But the thing about your past is like it'll always keep catching up to you unless you deal with it. So unless you go back and learn from the lessons of your past, it's just like it's not going anywhere. It's going to just keep following you until pretty much until the day you die. That's how I look at it.
And a good friend, he reminded me, what you avoid will chase you, what you chase avoid you.
There you go.
So it's in that part of being grounded within yourself to understand that like this reality is ultimately based on your perception of it.
Right.
It's a good day if it's a good day, but it has to be a good day to you. And it's a lot of things outside of you that could be making it a hard day. You could have lost a family member. You could have gotten a bill notice that you've got to pay. They say they want $40 extra on that $140 they asked for. You could have had problems with your car. Girl that you're talking to might have found some issue. All of these things that come about in the journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you don't find the jewels in it, that is your fault.
That's true.
And that is not my business.
Yeah, right.
We're in the business of elevating, and at times the elevation takes a lot more work on that shadow.
Exactly.
And I've been speaking about it in different ways because that's heavy work, right?
Yeah.
I love that I'm able to give people jewels in the morning.
Yeah.
I have to be conscious that some people are taking these clips and they feeling some things and don't know who to talk to about the things they feeling.
Exactly.
Right? So it's like sometimes you're like, oh yeah, that's me. And it's like, no, it's not you. You're not that positive right now. And it's okay.
Yeah.
Like I've not been that positive. I remember watching certain clips, certain motivational joints like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
You know, to be on one side and then be on the other, giving the message, right? Those are the blessings of life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Phew. Jewels in your journey.
Yeah.
If you don't have a copy, you need one.
Yeah.
And get somebody a copy.
Yeah, definitely, man. You know, hey, man, definitely get your copies. You know, definitely. Hey, I just appreciate all the support that I'm getting so far, and you know, definitely all the positive feedback. So yeah, definitely. You know what I mean, hey, that's what it's all about. Just going through your journey and find, like I said, those jewels and applying it to you, because that's life is the greatest teaching tool. Trust me, I think you know it, I know it, and I think everybody who listens to this, they know. Yeah, you're gonna learn the best in life. You know, so. But it's like, it's all about, are you paying attention though?
Are you paying attention?
You know, if you sometimes if you don't, it's like when you're in school, if you don't pay attention, you know, you gotta, you know, you get a failing grade, or if you don't pass the class, you gotta repeat it sometimes. Well, if you don't, you know, pay attention to like the lessons life is trying to give you, the universe, God, or however you want to call it, it's gonna be like, okay, well, you got to learn this again because you didn't pay attention to it the first time. So
you could be present but not present.
Exactly.
So that's always the part. Like, you're here, but where are you mentally? That's the big daydreamer. Thing. And I had to sit with like, okay, I'm not here, but where am I? Oh, I'm thinking about music. How can I turn this thing that I think about without anybody telling me to think about into my betterment?
Exactly.
It's like I said, it's a full meal. It's a full meal. I want to ask you, if you didn't have to make money, right? If you didn't have to have a status in society, no money, no status, what are you doing with your time?
Ooh, man, that's a good question. I've never thought about that. Wow. So not worried about money or status. What would I do with my time? I think honestly, I probably would just try to continue to learn more. You know, just trying to gain more knowledge and more insight on life, and you know, and that's not because I've just written a book. Just like I think I've always liked the ability to learn and want to, you know, work on myself and be better. And that's probably what I would do with my time. Just try to keep gaining the insight and the wisdom as I go through life. That's probably how I would probably spend most of my time if I didn't have to worry about, you know, money or status.
The thing that is interesting is that's your truest joy.
Yeah.
And I asked that question, and I'm going to be asking that one a lot more, because a lot of people don't know their true joy.
Yeah.
And we have no reason to avoid it.
Yeah.
Right. There's a balance that's needed. Right. I'm not saying go give up everything you do to just go learn. Right.
Right.
But I'm saying make sure that a majority of your time is spent doing it. And you're already doing it, as I've seen. But for me, my truest thing, no money, no status, is creation. I love art.
That's beautiful.
So the fact that that's mine showed me that we're all so unique, and that is oftentimes our assignment.
Exactly.
That's what God is like, why aren't you doing that?
Exactly.
I give you these opportunities. You got microphones. Where's your rap song?
There you go.
Like, that's the part. So it's a blessing to just sit in space and to be here. Eternal life.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? E-life.
E-life. Yep. Everlasting life.
Everlasting.
Yep. And I was just gonna say this too, back to what you just talked about earlier. It's like, it's funny. You like you said, you would do art and you know, creating, but it's like that's exactly what you do right now. And you have some money and status too by doing it. So it's like you found something that, you know, if you didn't have money and status with it, you would still do it. And that's what's beautiful about it, because it's like, if you can find something that you want to do and you're not concerned about the status or the money, and it just so happens to actually bring you some status and money, then that's probably the right path to go on, you know? So I think that's what's beautiful about you, is because I see that, you know, like you have the love and a passion to create art, and it's brought you some money and status at the same time. So that's what I think was beautiful about that question you asked too, by the way. So
and it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing to sit into all the stories I read.
Yeah.
All the basketball players that did not make the high school team, but are balling in the NBA.
That is true.
Best in the NBA.
Yeah.
They didn't have they didn't have no resource that said that guy gonna be in the NBA.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is Dennis Rodman. Brother is a janitor in a college.
Wow.
He's a janitor out of college.
That's crazy.
After 20.
Yeah.
Just mopping floors. I think he has a growth spurt one summer that doesn't make sense to people. And I don't know if this is some, if it's myth, that would be hilarious. But I watched the documentary and they show him like, he's like, I wasn't no hooper. I ain't really care about ball like that.
Right.
But I was hungry.
That's true. Yeah.
And his defensive work showed his hunger, his tenacity, his discipline, and it's so many guys with those types of stories. Like, I needed something to change. I needed to be the change I was seeking.
Yes.
I needed to be the pillar I wanted. I needed to be the guy I didn't see in the school. There's a lot of guys I saw in the school, right? But I didn't see them the way I wanted them to be.
Right.
It's like, what does that look like? Oh, let me go find out.
Exactly.
So like I said, I'm grateful, man. And this podcast is such a beautiful thing for me because it's a combination of all the jobs I had. Tech, right?
Yeah.
So I was in the tech department of the library,
right?
Briefly, but learning the different software programs, learning how to build my computer without having to spend too much.
Yeah.
Then the audio interfaces that I'm finding is from watching so many dudes on YouTube talk about audio engineering, and that was like a pastime. That was something I did for fun. So, like I said to anybody, look at what you do without being told to do it. Find a way to make it something that empowers you rather than distracts you. But the cool thing is, when you decide to turn it on, right?
Yeah.
Like the dudes who collect the cards, they were collecting baseball cards. I got family collecting statues. Like, them statues are dope. Shout out to my cousins collecting the statues.
Right.
Like, he's getting figures. And the day that he decides to create his YouTube channel is going to soar far beyond what my YouTube channel would do if I started talking about figures and statues.
Right.
I don't know enough.
Exactly.
Cousins he's like, his backlog is crazy. Like, if I ask you about Kemet, if I ask you about the different sciences you studied, the different engineering concepts that you've mastered,
right?
Essentially, right? That's nothing.
Right.
I do this to the kids. I'm like, what's 5 times 6? They're like, huh? And you already see the number.
Right.
Like, you already see the number.
Exactly, right.
So it was 12 times 12. The 1 to 4 4. Like, like, easily, right?
It's like, all right, you paid attention. All right, good job, man.
So it's like, those are the things when knowledge becomes secondhand.
Exactly.
It's not work anymore. And that's what the gift of God is.
Yeah.
When you have on command wisdom.
But it shows like how much you've applied on your journey. Like you said, like you were in tech. Now you got your podcast that you're doing. You know, you've been doing teaching. Like, now you're, in writing and things like that. So it's like, it just shows you how much that you've been paying attention on your journey, because every career that you've done, it's like now you're applying it into your life as an entrepreneur.
Yes, sir.
So, you just take from what you've learned in every destination and you apply it on your journey. Like, that's one of the things I talk about in my book. You focus on the destination as opposed to the journey itself. Like, the journey is great, but if you don't pay attention to the destination, like, you miss important things. Like, so it's like all about those moments that you want to make on your journey that are almost as important as the actual journey itself.
One thing I say a lot is both and rather than either or. Because both and is like, they're both valuable. And for me at times, I would take too much attention off.
Right.
Because, like, for me, I would say the journey is more important than the place I'm trying to be. When I am angry, I'm not at the destination. Right. So when the impatience sets in.
Yes.
Because there's the impatience of like, are we there yet? And we know that movie.
Right. Yeah, we do. Right.
Right.
It's like, it starts like, it's like when you're a kid, it's like, it's like you ask your parents, like, are we there yet? It's like, no. It's just like stop asking me that.
And the beautiful part is you set your target and you walk. And you fall in love with the ground in front of you. You fall in love with the trees you're passing, the people that might wave, the baby in the stroller. You just keep that pace. That pace is your gift. And you may need to rest, but you set your target, you go.
Absolutely.
Your target may change because along the way, somebody, hey, man, that place is closed down, bro. Ain't nothing there no more. But you might still want to walk there because you just like where the path is. You just like the path. So it's those parts where there's no wasted moments. I used to sit and laugh because I reflected on these moments I had as a kid that I was like, why am I here? Why is this Sunday so long?
Right.
My back is sweating. They ain't got no AC in churches.
Right, exactly. Exactly. That's the worst.
My forehead is sweating. That fan you got going there, Grandma, ain't working like you
No,
thought it was.
it's not.
It's making me a little annoyed because you look like you're sweating more. That's all right, Grandma.
Right, right.
But these moments, right? The walk around Gabrielle's, the walks around Ross, the walks around Lane Bryant and the 70 stores my mother had to visit in a weekend, right? Yeah. I was like, can we get some? Nah, wait. It's like, So my feet getting tired. Go sit down. Go sit down on that bench. We sitting out in front of the store looking in.
Right.
We got to get up when she purchases it. Make sure we say things to people.
Yeah.
All the thousands of cashiers and the just employees I've met along the way.
Right.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yep. Check us out. Check us out.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. See, that's the blessings.
Hey, there you go. Hey, see right there. See, that's what I'm talking about. The money and status right there. He just got more status right there. You know? So I'm telling you, this man right here is just he's doing it, man. I'm telling you. So I'm telling this, y'all. There you go. You got the proof right there. We just had a fan come and say, "Oh, a podcast." It's like, yeah, that's what we doing.
It was a guy from a place.
A guy from a place.
City Bipper.
There you go. He's making his moves. He's making his moves, y'all.
Yes, and I'm grateful, man. Like, think about all those moments.
Yeah,
the moments that I didn't know I needed. Those are the moments that matter the most.
Absolutely.
I didn't know this would be today. I'm telling you, Elijah. Today, I had 3 different events at the front of my mind.
Yeah.
I'm not at any of the 3. And I've lost nothing because I didn't go.
Yeah.
But the one event that I committed to, is just this one.
Yeah.
Has given me more than I expected to receive today.
It's like that sometimes. And first and foremost, man, thank you for coming out. I mean, I just appreciate, you supporting me, you supported my mom, supported all the vendors inside. I mean, I didn't know. I just try to put the word out and just say, hey, I'm here. If anyone wants to come out, this is where I'll be. And then when I saw you, I was like, oh my gosh, wow. So I didn't expect to see someone. I finally, like, someone actually I knew came out. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, man, I just appreciate, you coming out and doing that, you know, and I'm sorry the other events didn't work out for you, but but the way I look at it is like, hey, you came here and you got what you got why you need to come here. So
let me give you it. They weren't supposed to. That's why I sit with alignment.
Right.
The first event, I was supposed to leave the house at 7 to make it happen. Talk to the person that I was going with. Oh, I'm overslept. Can we push it back? No, let's do it another day. We're not pushing nothing back. If I set 7, because I was up to be, I was up for 7. You're not doing no other time than that.
Right.
Second event was an appointment set. Appointment got canceled. The people called the person I was gonna go with, and said, "Oh, we got to reschedule your appointment." Oh, word. What are you trying to tell me, Lord?
Right.
What are you trying to tell me in this moment? Third event was a farm that I was going to visit, and it's not even Zen Farm, which is beautiful because I would love to stop by there soon again. But it's another farm where I'm going to meet some individuals who have things for people to build, right?
Right.
And the brother that I spoke to about going yesterday was like, "Don't even worry about it, man. Come another day, plenty of time to meet these people. It's waiting for you.
Exactly.
That's not going nowhere." So what I sat into in that moment was, I'm scrolling through. What do I have to find? What am I supposed to see? I see you on my timeline. I'm going to be at Eli.
Right.
Oh, Eli. Oh, everlasting. I say eternal because I like both of those concepts. Everlasting life.
Right.
Eternal life, but everlasting life. DC, Capitol Heights, close to DC, outside of DC.
It's not too far from DC. Okay, so I don't know how far Capitol Heights is from DC, but it can't be too far away.
Capitol Heights, DMV. They got some chick drummies, it ain't chicken. It is great. Whatever. So I'm like, that place, I've been there. I need to be there again.
Right.
My guy is there.
Right.
He's got his book. It's a networking event. So I just want to be in space.
Yeah.
Because I know it's beautiful people in this space. It's beautiful food in this space.
Absolutely.
It's black.
Yeah, black on everything.
It look like me.
Yeah.
So I step into the space. I got the camera going already, so I'm like, I'm a surprise, but I ain't gonna tell them I'm coming.
Right. I just have to, because I'm buying somebody from another event. I look over, I'm just like, because I'm about to say, oh, hey, brother, how you doing? So, like, oh, it's Marquis. Oh, okay, all right, no, it's you. I was like, okay, I didn't know that was you, man. What's up? It's
like I just walk up to the table like, what's up with all of that? I said, hey man, this is nice.
Right. I look over. I'm thinking to myself, okay. Like, oh, we got another customer. I'm like, oh yeah, so brother, how you doing? Oh, okay. Okay. What's up, man? Like, I didn't know that was you. So, hey, man, that made my day for sure.
And that's the jewels in the journey.
Yeah. Well,
because it's those moments. I can't get that back. We can't set this stage again.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, there's a lot of other things that I was forcing to happen.
Exactly.
This wasn't a force. It was show up.
Yeah.
And show out.
Yeah.
Because I got the podcast. And if we didn't do a podcast, I was grateful to just have lunch with you.
Yeah, same
and
here.
Come into the space, and I got some jewels. Shout out to Tony and her mom.
Shout out to her. Yeah,
shout out to the businesses.
Everybody in there is just like, you know, it's just a great opportunity to network, and you know, it's a great opportunity just to network and like you said, you know, you get good food and all that, and you know, if there's any entrepreneurs in the DMV area, you know, Everlasting Life, they do this the first Saturday of every month except January. They have their Black Wall Street Renaissance pop-up shop. So yeah, if you're an entrepreneur, definitely, you know, come on out, you know, put your business out there. Like we talked about earlier, it's like, it's all about putting yourself out there. So if you're an entrepreneur, you want to try to, you know, put yourself out there, you know, come out to Everlasting Life, you know, get the information, and, you know, definitely put yourself out there. You know, you can always reach out to me. I can help you with that, but because I want to see, like, I'm like Marquis, I want to see other entrepreneurs win. So definitely do that. You know, like we talked about earlier, like we talked about Tony. This is her first time doing a pop-up shop with her mom. So, but hey, she put herself out there. So, you know, any entrepreneurs out there, hey, come on down to eLife, and you know, let everybody know about your business. You know, because unless you put it out there, no one's gonna know about it.
And you have a reason to.
Yeah.
That's the part that I said with marketing. Why do people have to care? Right. Why do I care? Because there comes a day where you stop caring a little bit.
That is true.
Like, I was sitting with, why do I do this podcast? Oh, I said it at the start. To make people aware of the awesome things in my city, the awesome people I come across, and the journey that I'm on and the reflections that I gain along the journey.
Exactly.
Does that intention mean I have to make $1 million from it?
No.
I could.
You could, yeah.
But that's not the only reason I'm doing it.
Exactly.
So the day that money isn't there, am I still doing this podcast? Hell yeah. It's like, this is my hooping.
Exactly.
Like, this is my basketball. This is my journaling when I don't have the opportunity to. This is an extension of the things. Right.
Because you can hoop, you know you're not going to the NBA. Like, I love basketball. I love to play it, but I know I'm not going to the NBA. It's just like, I know it's not going to happen for me, but I still love the game. So it's just like, you know, just because I thought about, there's somebody who I listened to, his name, he's a psychologist, spiritual teacher. His name is Dr. Ray Hagins. He always talked about, because he's in entrepreneurship too, he talks about how when you go into business, don't go into business to try to make money. And that's going to serve, exactly. Because you would think, okay, yeah, I want to go in to make money, which makes sense. But if you go into something just solely trying, like I said earlier, trying to make $1 million or whatever, 9 out of 10 is probably not going to happen. Like, people want to see that there's a reason why you're doing this, other than you trying to make money. Because if you just say, I'm only doing this to make money, it's just like, well, is your product really legit? Do you really care about if my needs are fulfilled as a customer? Like, those questions are going to arise. So
we can feel it.
Yeah. They can, like I said, people can feel energy. It's just like people, like your intuition will tell you, it's like, yes, or it's going to say, nah, I don't know about this person right here. You know, so that's what it's all about. Like you said, putting yourself out there, but ultimately, you know, as the entrepreneur, like, you know what your why is. It's just now you have to go and tell the customer what your why is. And hopefully you'll reach the people who understand what your why is, and then they want to get behind it. So like, I tell people, like, about what I wanted, like my book, and like, you know, what I want them to achieve from it, and so on and so forth. And, you know, when they buy it, it's like, okay, I think they got the why. You know, and I'm sure the same thing with you. When you promote your book or your products, it's like you have your why, or like with your podcast, you want people to subscribe and watch the podcast because, like you said, you want to highlight where you're from. You want to show the goodness that there actually is some good in Baltimore, even though it's a crazy, crazy city in Baltimore. There's some good to it if you look hard enough. But still, people who follow you can see, okay, I see why Marquis is doing this. So that's what it's all about. Just putting yourself out there and telling people why you want to do this. And, you know, hopefully the right people are going to follow behind it.
Absolutely. And look, it's already done.
Yep.
I already won. That's been my quote.
There you go.
I already won. It's not. Oh, why? What's you? I already won. I won when I started. I won when I taught the kids. I won. Like there's so everything after that, right?
Right, exactly.
Is a dessert. Everything is extra. That's where the gratitude comes from.
Exactly.
This is another extra. I'm like, yo, another moment in a life and times of the God from a place.
There you go.
So it's such a blessing. And I'm going to end this so we can get back inside with the beautiful people. And we're going to have to continue this conversation.
Oh, absolutely, man.
I'm actually thinking of going virtual a little bit.
Oh, okay.
To give people an opportunity to, again, like I said, the theme of the show is I'm meeting entrepreneurs where they're at.
Right.
I may have to meet you virtually. I may be in another country in 2 months.
That is true.
So these are the things where for like a 6 month stay. So I'm like, these are the things that we're blessed to do. How you doing?
How you doing? Well, well, first and foremost, again, man, I appreciate the opportunity just to be on the podcast. It's special to me because you are the first interview that I've done as far as my book, a speaking interview. You're the first one, so that means a lot. Come from a friend, fellow classmate. My brother, so that means a lot. So definitely, man, whenever you want to continue the conversation, let me know. I'm always down to continue this. I mean, I learn a lot from you. So, hey, I think what you're doing is phenomenal. It's something that's really needed. We need more positivity. So definitely, I want to see where you can take this, man, because it's got the potential to be something really big. I see you making the moves on IG. So definitely, man, anytime you want to have me back, please let me know. I'll be down to come back, man. Anytime.
Yes, sir. And as we say,
there you go. Your Jewels in Your Journey. If you want to get your copy, you go to www.yourjewelsinyourjourney.com. For more information, of course, you can follow me on Instagram at Melanie King Eli. So if you want to reach out to me, you can email me at ElijahLewis@yourjewelsinyourjourney.com. And yeah, definitely. Just appreciate Marquis for the opportunity again, my man, Charm City Bipper.
Yes,
so definitely support, continue the support. And also, if you haven't already, get a copy of my brother's book too. My bad.
No, it's funny. I got a card too.
Right. Exactly.
So the card that I put together, I wrote, I'm a guy from a place, Charm City Bipper, Quis The Vndl. Marquis is the name my mama gave me. It's funny reading it and I say it so much.
Right. Exactly too. Because I've heard you say it so many times, almost I can memorize it too. It's like, that's like the one thing I can remember. It's like, yep, I know who that is. Right. Yeah. But go ahead, man. My bad.
You good, man. It's funny because it's like, it's ours.
Yeah.
It's as much of as much of the audience, the supporters, the people who have given me messages of encouragement as it is mine.
Yeah.
And finding that balance, as I say, because there's days where it's like, I don't know how. There have been days I don't know how or why or what's next. And there sometimes comes expectations that I put upon myself because I'm trying to meet something. And I remember, like, this didn't come to me because of these false expectations. It didn't come to me because I was forcing or trying to get something from somebody.
Exactly.
So continuing to just be conscious of that. And thank you for the support. Thank you for supporting this thing that started in my head on dark days at my mama's house. I'm grateful for you and all the people that make me possible. I bip. I transfer emotion, love, and I seek betterment for myself and others. P.S. Charm City, Baltimore, USA. Bipper, a person in motion that is moving towards the goals they set for themselves.
There you go, man.
Yeah, and Bip has become an acronym for me. Being intentionally positive, and the P is transformative. So it's positive, patient, principled, pleasurable to my lady friends.
Okay. Hey,
powerful.
Hey, let them know, man. Let them know. Let them know.
Like all of these powerful things, like we say, blessed, intelligent, patient, or blessed, intelligent people.
Absolutely.
These different ways to expand a word beyond the limited perspectives.
Absolutely.
So we are so blessed to be from where we're from. We're so blessed to be able to be in other spaces.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Tuskegee. Shout out to Alabama. Shout out
to all my Tuskegee alums. TU, you know it. So definitely.
Yeah.
In fact, next week I'll be with my Tuskegee alums. We're gonna be at the Live Casino and Hotel in Hanover for the Northeastern Region Conference with the Tuskegee National Alumni Association. So if there are any Tuskegee alums who watch this, hey, be on the lookout because I will be vending my book there next week. So definitely look forward to kicking it with my Tuskegee alums next week. So for sure. So shout out to Tuskegee. You know, they're a big part of the journey where I am today. So shout out to Poly, Tuskegee, Morgan, you know, all the places I've been on the journey. Hey, I wouldn't be where I am without them. So
all our educators, all of our villagers, all the people in the village that make us, man.
Absolutely. There you go. Well said.
One day made better, as many days made greater. I'm uplifting you to be in a world that cares. If I keep it to myself, I think that's unfair. The joys we are given are best when shared. Visionaries never die. Legends survive through the seeds we sow daily. We get better with time. I'm wishing these people and ourselves greater networks and greater net worth.
Absolutely.
Trust.
Peace. All right. Thank you, man.
That's God. Yeah. We were searching for the right way, did a lot of wrong. Can't go back, gotta move on. Gotta move forward, corrections given and accept the living. Still brings pain, even when you're moving with the best intentions. And you blessed with visions of joy, bliss, peace. Gratitude for every day I live to speak and I live to breathe in wealth and abundance. Traumas get healed when the shadows confront it. I know my